Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest fights to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game. All right, we're back here with Tree Talking Time, and actually, this guest is probably the first true repeat guest. There's only one other person that I can think of that was on the podcast twice, but they were both his podcasts were recorded like at the same time. We just kind of split it into two. So, welcome back, Tyler.
Howdy. Long time no see.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. This is going to come out on October 4th, and the last podcast we did came out on September 6th.
Well, I hope the next month is as good as this month has been.
I know. You've had a really good month. And for the listeners that don't know, this is Tyler Compton, the winner of the most recent UKC World Hunt with his female Get Gone Jenna.
Yes, sir.
So it was kind of funny. I texted you, what was that, Friday night? Were you? I think.
Yep.
While you were going into semifinals, and I was like, when you win, I said, I need that interview.
Yep, and I held true. You're the first one that I've done so far, minus UKC. Trevor, he cornered me there before I left.
I knew they were going to corner you before you even went to bed. So.
Right. And other than that, you're the first one, so you're lucky number one.
Good deal. It still took us a week and a half to get it done, but that's all right.
Yeah.
You've been busy.
Part of our busy lives.
Yep.
That's right. Trying to get moved and everything else.
And you're still hunting?
I am. Yeah, we just had the UKC's regional qualifying event here at my home club this weekend. So we went from one hunt right into the other.
Didn't even get a break.
No break.
Did you hunt Jenna in that?
I did, yes. I hunted Jenna in that both rounds, Friday and Saturday. And we let salute the Friday night a little later. She looked terrible, and I got beat on a tiebreaker Saturday night. So we didn't do any good, but it is what it is.
Yep. Like I said, you were on podcast a month ago. We talked about Jenna briefly. Why don't we talk a little bit about Jenna and where she came from and a little bit about her background before we kind of get into the hunt and the process of the World Hunt and just kind of, the journey to get from a puppy that you have a lot of history with the breeding all the way to now.
Yeah. So, Jenna was raised by a guy up in around Kansas City area, Smithville, Missouri. His name is Dwayne Jeremiah. We're good friends to this day. He had a female that was a full sister to Cheyenne Cummings' Redneck Backwoods Shack, and he had contacted my father-in-law, who is Cheyenne Cummings. For those of you who do not know, I'm married to Cheyenne's youngest daughter, and he had contacted him and asked about who he should breed her to. He was looking for his next pup and decided that he would figure out where he should go and that Shy would know the best crosses on the Mafia background. So whenever he told Cheyenne said, bone collector dogs tend to cross best on the Mafia stuff, what I've seen just from my experience. And we happen to have a really nice one just down the road from our house, a local dog here. That was named Bones Backwater Banjo. So, long story short, Cheyenne got those two guys hooked up. Dwayne took him right over to Rob Thompson's house, took baby over there, and made the cross. Well, fast forward, it's time for baby to have her pups. She has them. I don't remember how many she had. I think she had 7. And for setting the deal up, Dwayne decided to give Cheyenne a pup.
Okay.
Well, Jenna happened to be the white one of the pup. If Cheyenne taught me nothing more, it's to pick the white ones out. We like the white ones. We like the color. If they were all white, that's even better. So he gets her home, but she's 8 weeks old or so, and she's running loose in the yard there. And me and Ashton were dating at the time, and I used to go over there quite frequently because at this time I'm still hunting other dogs. I've got whatever dogs out of Mafia or Shy sent me with dogs, and I'm hunting them for him. And I'm still, I've been in the game a while, but I'm still a little wet behind the ears. So I'm looking for that for that big winner. You know, I won a few hunts and I'm just eating it up, but I really don't have the perfect dog. And I didn't know a dang thing about starting a pup or anything of that nature really either. I just knew how to turn them loose.
Yep.
And Shy had been a huge help with that. But long story short, I get over there one day and this little female's running around the yard. I mean, she's beautiful, almost all white, got a spot on her forehead, and I decide that I'm going to see if Shy'd sell her to me. And I ask him what she's out of. He tells me she's out of Banjo and Baby and the story. And I said, I tell you what would it take to buy her? And he said, I tell you what, you take her and hunt her, get her started. And he said, you can have half of her if you do that. And I said, okay. I said, Shy, I don't know nothing about starting no dog. I mean, I'm going to be honest. And he said, that's fine. He said, I'll help you along, whatever we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's fine. So I took her home. She was probably between 3 and 4 months old at that time. And I took her home. We buddied up together and I take it back. The reason why I picked her out at Shy's, there's pups all over the yard. He was able to let him run loose. And, man, this little female just comes zooming through the yard like an airplane. And the only time she'd stop, she'd grab a bite of feed or she'd get a little head scratching and off she'd go again. I mean, every 5 minutes she'd come flying in through the yard the other way. And I thought, that's a wild one. That's what I want.
Yep. Competition guys like them wild ones.
Yeah, that's right. We do that. You know, they're always action packed. They're always doing something. They're always getting into trouble. I mean, it's one of those things. So, fast forward there, she's 6, 7 months old, and I decide I'm going to take her hunting. And a lot of people don't know this or think this is kind of funny. And I take her that night, and the reason I'll back up again, kind of a funny story. So, the guy who owned Banjo, who was Rob Thompson, he had a girlfriend at the time, and her name was Jenna. And they were kind of having some statin problems, and he was trying to figure out how to get her, you know, get over it, get on with his life. And well, Shy thought it was hilarious, and this little female, he thought, I'm gonna name her Get Gone Jenna, and that's how Jenna got her name. We didn't know nothing about it. She was just a big old puppy, you know.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's, she's wild. That's why you named her that. And it had nothing to do with that. It was a name that Shy came up with that had nothing to do with it yet. We didn't even know if she was going to make it at this time.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, back to her first night hunting her. I get her out of the box, and I put a collar on her, you know, and I just set her there on the ground. I get the other dog out that I'm hunting, and I get ready to turn loose, and this little female's gone. I'm thinking, where in the world is she at? So I pull up my Garmin, and she's 1,000 yards.
Holy smokes.
And I'll never forget. Yeah, first night in the woods. I called Shy and I said, Cheyenne, why did you name this dog Get Gone Jenna? He laughed. He said, what do you mean? I said, she is gone. And I had never even turned her loose before, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how she was from day one. She was wild, went hunting good, didn't care what nothing else was doing. And so, you know, about 8 months old, she treated her first coon, and they were pretty far and few between. She liked to run a lot. She's pretty junky, and I just let her be. Shy told me, you know, don't mess her up. Just let her do it. When she starts to train coons, she'll quit all that. And sure enough, he was right. I got to hunting her, and she just started coming right together. And so one thing led to another, and here we are. You know, 5 years later now, she quit all the junk and went to train coons and was pretty competitive at it. We won a bunch, and I couldn't be more proud of her or me for getting this far.
Yeah. Now, what all has she won prior to the World Hunt?
So prior to the World Hunt, I got her in. I took her. She was a spring Super Stakes pup. I took her to her sophomore Super Stakes, and I made the top 20 with her. That was a big feat. I'd never been there. That was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Then I took her to her junior Super Stakes, and I made the top 6. I made the heads up cast, and she laid an egg on me, and we just got to lay out there and cry about it in the cornfield that night. But it was a good experience either way.
Yeah. I
had made the top 100 of the UKC World Hunt there, and I think it was 19 that I made. Maybe it was 20. I think it was 20.
Okay.
I also won the Oklahoma State UKC championship in back-to-back years. I won it in 20 and in 21 with her. That's when the top 16 hunts it off here, and you know, they all get to kind of against each other. Anyways, I won it back to back years. With that was probably the day the most proudest win that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was right here at home and
Yeah.
with all the guys I hunt with night in and night out.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and then I think that pretty much, I'd won right at about, she's a platinum champion, so I'd won about 21,000 going into the world hunt with her in PKC, just money that I'd won there.
So it's not like she's a stranger to the winner's circle or competition, not by any means.
No, we couldn't finish. We'd been there and been close a time or two. We just could never get the job done. And, a lot of that's luck and breaks, and I'll tell you what, a lot of it's fate.
Yeah.
The good Lord blessed me out there at the UKC World, and as you guys will hear here in a little bit, there was a lot of breaks that had to happen, and it did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I'm telling you, when you're meant to win something, nobody else can stop you. And I'm not doing that as a Brad moment. That's the good Lord above working, and it's a long story, but it's a good one.
Well, we're gonna get into that here soon, but let's talk about the breakdown of how you progress to get even to the world hunt, because I know a lot of my listeners are not competition coon hunters, and that includes me. I go to some local hunts, but I mean, I'm not that familiar with how you go from competing at a local level to getting to the world hunt.
Right. So they have what they call regional qualifying events all over the country, starting January 1st until I think it's about August 15th is the end of it. You can qualify it's just a normal, typical local hunt like you would. Normally they draw a few more dogs. You have to be in the top 10 to get qualified. Nowadays they don't have more than 40 dogs at them generally.
Yeah.
So you just have to go win your cast. You go compete just like you would a local hunt, but you're competing against dogs that are titled. You can Grand Night champion dogs, Night champion dogs, open dogs. They're all thrown in a pile, and you draw out with 3 other ones. You have to win. You have to be the best out of 4.
Okay.
And you hunt for 2 hours, and that's whatever you got to do to win. When you win that cast, it qualifies you to hunt at what we call the zones, which would be like a sectional.
Mm-hmm.
And which would then advance you to the world hunt. So when you go, there's like 3,000 dogs I think UKC said competing this year that was entered in those RQEs, those regional qualifying events.
Wow.
And and then from there, when you go to the zone, there's 6 or 7 of those around the country.
Yeah.
I don't remember the total number.
Mm-hmm.
But they take out of all those dogs, they've already won on cast. Now they're competing for their next round, which would be the top 100. You have to win, either be high scoring dog or a double cast winner, and you have to be in the top, say 25%. I think is what it was there at our zone. Okay. Mine happened. I went to Palmyra, Missouri. Mm-hmm. There was 118 dogs, I think, and they took 24. So it wasn't, the math's not quite right, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. And like you said, that is a Friday and a Saturday event.
Yes. You hunt 2 nights, and it's either a double cast winner. If you win both nights, say you hunt Friday night and win, you hunt Saturday night and win, you get to go first. Mm-hmm. From there, they go to the single 1 night score,
okay,
but the highest one.
Yeah. So
that's how they pick their top 25. There was 500 and something dogs total competing there at the zones, is what they said. I think 538 or something like that was the total number that was competing to get to the top 100.
Yeah.
So and then when you make it to the top 100, it's just win and then advance. So if you hunt 1, 2, 3 rounds, and then you're in the finals to hunt your 4th round. That's how it generally works.
Gotcha. Now, let's talk about you going through this year, you and Jenna going through this year, because you kind of have an interesting story, which I think is pretty cool. I know a lot of people that are familiar with this or have watched any of the coverage. They've heard this story, but I just think it's a very cool story, and that it all came together like you had said. So I'll just shut up and let you tell it.
Yeah, so we'll start at that regional qualifying event. I qualified her to a small club in Missouri. Aurora, Missouri is where it is, and they normally have a pretty good crowd. I think I've qualified Jenna there the last 3 years or 4 years. So, and they're it's tough. It's in the middle of February, March area, and coon training's tough, and generally a coon or two will win those casts, and
Hmm.
Jenna's one of those ones who's generally going to go find one somewhere.
Yeah.
And I remember the cast. I drew a couple guys, and we drove about an hour to hunt. And it was winding down to the end of the cast. Jenna had made a den tree and was just out roaming around. And we got to the top of this hill. I my Garmin picked her up tree. She was like a mile point two or something, a long ways away.
Ooh.
I remember getting to the top of this hill and hearing her tree through there. And those guys heard her too and took my call. And we went to her, and she had a coon. She treated the only coon of that cast that night,
There you
and
go.
it worked out in my advantage to win.
Hmm.
And all I needed to do was win. I didn't care how we did it, and we got it done.
Yep.
So, at fast forward there, February or March, and the entries for your zone comes on sale there on July 1st. Trevor put from UKC, he put the big notification out that, hey, entries are on sale, get them, don't forget about them, and get it done. Well, I sit in front of a computer all day at work, so I just went ahead and, okay, I'm going to get it entered. I don't want to forget this. I'd like to make a statement, go to the World Hunt.
Yeah.
So I had actually, my nephew, Cash Cummings, had shown Jenna at that RQE as well. He wanted to show her, and she needed a few wins to be a bench show, and he won the RQE with her. So she actually was qualified for the show too. I'm not much of a show dog guy, but that's just how it worked out.
Yeah.
So I get on there July 1st. I get her entered in the show. I get her entered in the hunt, and everything's all hunky dory. Nothing else comes of it. We're still hunting, preparing and stuff, and well, at Autumn Oaks, we were planning on this. Rolls around August, the entries closed there the last week of August, and at Autumn Oaks. Well, I was expecting to take Jenna to Autumn Oaks, and as you know, we were there, and she wasn't.
Yeah.
She had came in heat on me just right before I got ready to leave that Monday, and she was out in her pen, and she had come in heat on me, and I thought, man, that's a bummer. I mean, I had her really looking good, and I was hoping, had her entered in the hunt there, and was hoping to do some damage, and it just didn't work out. It was what it was. I didn't want to take her being in heat and dealing with that issue, so I just left her home.
Yep.
And Jennifer, my mother-in-law, had asked me while we were there, hey, do I need to confirm your entry to get to the zones? And I said, no, I've already done it online. Not a big deal. Well, fast forward again a week, Trevor releases the zone entries, and I'm not on it. And I'm thinking, oh no, I have forgot something. I thought I did it, but I didn't. It was a couple months ago. Maybe I screwed up. Well, I get on the phone with Trevor. We get it figured out. I entered the wrong dog. I entered a dog and swapped the number around, and I don't know. I entered a plot dog or something. He said, and so he got me fixed up there. It was my mistake. I don't know what happened, but either way, he fixed me up, and we get on the list. Well, in the same process, we're only about 15 days into her heat cycle, and Trevor's like, hey man, I know she's in heat. You want me to give you a refund for your money? And I said, Trevor, I don't think so. I said, I think we can get through it. She's on her way out. And I said, I think I can keep any big issues from arising. And he said, okay, well, you let me know Thursday before you leave, and I'll refund you your money if you want. And I said, okay. Well, I talked to my boss about going, and I hadn't said anything to her really. I had requested the day off, but my boss and another lady I work with had grandbabies getting ready to be due. And for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm a loan officer at a bank, a real small town bank, and it's ran with 6 employees, and so when 2's gone, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
And that's just how it was going to have to be. And my boss is the only other loan officer, so we were going to be without. And my boss said, Tyler, I don't think you're going to be able to get off. We've got these grandkids due, and kind of takes the cake. And I said, hey, I understand, I get it. That's just part of it.
Yep.
So I'm looking around. I got to find somebody to hunt her, and really I thought I could make it up Saturday night because in the zone you have to hunt both nights. If you don't hunt Friday night, you can't hunt Saturday night. You're just automatically disqualified.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, I just got to find somebody to turn her loose Friday night. It doesn't matter as long as I can get there by Saturday and hunt her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my plan. I made some phone calls. I have some friends up there, and a buddy of mine named Justin Reeves, he lives there close, and he said, I tell you what, I'll guide you, or I'll guide her, and I'll hunt her the first night, and that way when you come up here, you can hunt her the next night. I said, man, you don't know how much I appreciate it. Thank you, and he got it all lined out for me. And Jennifer and Cheyenne took her up there Friday afternoon, and they got their confirmation done and got her confirmed. And so he was able to pick her up and do that. Well, in the process, my boss, being as nice as she is, she said, hey, the one girl that was on vacation for her grandkid had some complications, and she wasn't going to be able to spend time with her grandbaby anyway. So she said, I'll come back in and I'll work, those a couple hours for you if you think you can leave by 1:30 or 2 and make it to your hunt. And I said, okay. But it was a 6-hour drive from my work to where she was hunting at. So I said, well, I'd have to leave by 2 to get there by 8.
Yeah.
And, we kind of talked about this Thursday beforehand, and my boss said, I tell you what, you come to work tomorrow, but you have your truck packed ready to go. I said, okay. So, long story short, the lady is able to work for me. I mean, saved me big time. I said, all right, yeah. I appreciate it. 2 o'clock, I was in the driver's seat. We were headed to Palmyra, and just for a shot. We didn't care really. We were just excited to get to go.
Yep.
So
I'm sure you
out
obeyed
there
that speed limit the whole way, didn't you?
Oh yeah, exactly. that 10 over rule. I think that's about where I was at the whole way out there. And so I get out there, and Justin meets me. He drops in his pin of where we're going to go hunting at, and so we get out there, and it's a beautiful spot. I mean, I draw a couple guys, 3 other guys there, and we get to the spot. Jenna, I was nervous about sending over Justin anyway, just for the fact that Jenna doesn't like strangers. She's a very odd dog, a very one-man dog, and she gets very weird around people and tends to be very hard to catch.
I thought you had a walker dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a cur dog.
That's what I've got those too, but she would remind you of one. So, anyways, we get to the woods that night, good, pretty spot. We get them turned loose, and Jenna trees a coon out of the truck, and another dog covers me there, and mine leaves. She leaves this tree, and she just runs off. I mean, acts completely weird and runs plumb off. I find her there at the end after the hunt was over, and treed with a coon. That just was our luck, It didn't work out that night. I thought, well, she hadn't been turned loose in 20 nights because she'd been in heat. I hadn't hunted her at all or anything. I thought, well, tonight's to knock the rust off. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
So the next night, Saturday night, I decided, well, we're gonna give her a shot again, and I draw some 3 more guys there, and one guy's guiding. He's out of state, but he's got him a good spot there, and he says, hey, we're gonna drop, which drop hunting means you're gonna turn loose, tree a coon together, load the dogs, go to the next spot. Mm-hmm. He was trying to rack up a big score. That's the way to save hunt time, and I don't blame him. I get what he was trying to do, and well, unfortunately for him, my dog is not a drop hunt type of dog.
Yeah. She
absolutely hates other dogs, and if they come to her or come around her, she's able to go the complete opposite direction just to get away from them. So
sounds like a family trait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, gets it straight from her grandpa and daddy, and that's how she's been since day one. And we pull up to this first spot there, and it's a cornfield on both sides, big cornfield, and right down the middle of it is a fence row. And this fence row runs a mile long, right down it. And I told that guy, I said, what's your plan here? He said, we're going to tree a coon. We're going to get them together down that tree and get out. I said, okay. I said, that's not going to work for me, but we'll try it. So we turn them loose, and I strike for 100, which is first strike for those of you who don't know. And the rest of them dogs kind of fall in. They get in the corner, run a minute, and this little black female ends up treeing a coon on the edge there by herself. And that guy, he could tell he's kind of wanting to call timeout, but, three other dogs, there wasn't nothing he could really do. So he recuts her, and another dog there gets treed, and the old black female trees with it. And the third dog actually ends up treeing there too. And so get in there, and they got a big circle tree. You couldn't really find nothing. There were coons all down this fence row. And in the meantime of this, my dog is out headed across this cornfield at a pretty high rate of speed. And it's probably a 200-acre cornfield. And she's going to the closest timber is probably 7 or 8 tenths of a mile, and that's where she was headed.
Mm-hmm.
So we pull off this second tree there, and they wanted to call timeout on me and try to move spots, and I kind of threw a fit. I was like, guys, don't call timeout on me. It's not her fault. We did this. But you guys kind of did this to yourself. And one of the other guys in the cast was like, yeah, you're right. We can't really call timeout on her. So they get recut again, and they make another tree in this fence row. And mine's treed at this time. She's went across the road and found this little patch of woods, but I can't hear her. And so we score this tree again. It's just a circle tree and pull off of it. And they got the 8 minutes working on me. And I told them, I said, guys, if the 8 minutes catches me, we're going to call timeout. We're going to go somewhere else. But I said, if someone walks up here with me, we'll see if we can hear her. And if I get her treed in, we'll get her scored. And they said, okay. So 8 minutes is working. One of the handlers in the cast comes up with me, and sure enough, you can just barely hear her. He hears her, and we get her treed in, and in UKC you can call timeout and move around. Move when you're scoring dogs and wanting to leave and stuff. So we were able to save some hunt time there and called timeout and got over there to where she was at, got her scored, and she had a coon. So that gave me 225 points, and worked out just perfect. I couldn't ask for no better to work out.
Yep.
So the guy's like, hey, we're going to move spots. We're going to go somewhere else. I said, okay. And sure enough, we go about a mile down the road and pull up to another spot that is exactly the same way. And I'm like, guys, this is not going to be good again,
Mm-hmm.
We turn them loose, and mine strikes for 75 that time, which is second. The other dogs get treed. There's 2 other dogs do, and they've got a coon. They get recut, and they actually make another tree, and they've got just a circle tree. We pull off of that tree and I'm tree, and those dogs get turned loose again, and they get treed there just real quick like. And mine had made a loop through the cornfield and went back towards the truck and got treed about 100 yards from the truck. We went to her, and she had a coon, and that gave me 425 points, and nobody else could beat me at that time. And the hunt was over. It worked out. I won.
Yeah.
Well, I went back, got back to the club, and I think I was 16th out of 24 dogs that they got to take for score wise, and that advanced me there to the world finals. It worked out for me.
Yeah.
So I've got to show a lot of props to Jennifer and Cheyenne for getting her there, and Justin Reese for getting me a hunt spot that first night and giving me an option to even be there the second. So
yeah. No, definitely. I mean, and we even spoke about this in the last podcast we did. Is you guys have a great team, and you guys really work together, and it definitely shows here.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's, like I said before, Shy, he's taught me a lot about training dogs and being there, and he's been right there with me ever since I had her since day one, and taught me a lot about dogs and training dogs, and Jennifer's been there. She's the paperwork girl, and the rule girl, I guess, in that aspect. And she gave Jenna a bath there when we were at zones just to make sure there was absolutely no issues with the end of her heat cycle and stuff, just to make sure. And
mm-hmm.
and they had a lot to play into it. So that when you say a team, it definitely is.
So now that gets you through zones, and then the following week you head to Tennessee, correct?
Yes. So back at it again. We have to be at Dyersburg, Tennessee, the next Thursday to hunt. Again, I haven't asked to be off work yet. I didn't know I was going to make it this far.
Yeah.
So I've got to go Monday morning. I got to go into my boss's office and ask off for the next 3 days or 2 days. I guess I left Wednesday after work, and she said, no big deal, go do big things. And I said, okay, I got to thank her for that. Just short notice and stuff. She definitely helped me out, and as well as all my coworkers. I mean, they had to cover for me and everything else on short notice. And I couldn't be more blessed in that aspect of it. So, get to Dyersburg, Tennessee. There's 104 dogs there, 103 and me, and we all have one goal in mind, and that's the win.
Yeah.
And when you get there, there is a line of dogs out the door. They're at the fairgrounds, and there's people everywhere. I mean, I've never seen so many people. I have been to the top 100 two other times, just with dogs that I had. Once with Jenna, once with the Iceman dog that Austin and Tim talked about there in the last episode. I owned him and had him in the top 100. But I've been there with Cheyenne twice, I think, and I was there whenever he got Shaq in the finals there in Elberton, Georgia. So I've been there and seen it, and this one was by far the busiest. There was people everywhere, and I mean, the locals there came out for it, and it was really, really neat deal. And props to Dyersburg Club. They did a heck of a job. Awesome. So we're when you get there, you got to confirm your dogs, bring them up with you, and everyone takes pictures. And they were, here we are, 103 other dogs, and that are just as good or better than the one I've got. And I got to tell them that I've got the best one. So I won't forget it. Steve Burkholder walks right up to me as soon as I get there, and he says, "Tyler, I just want to let you know," he said, "I've got your little dip pick to win this." I said, "Steve, don't tell me that." I said, "There's, I want to be an underdog, not a headhunter type deal." And he said, "I'm telling you, that's what I think." I said, "Okay." So fast forward to the night there, they draw our cats, and what do you know it? I draw a previous world champion, J.R. Gray, hunting a little insane scar female, which is out of my partner on Tier 1 custom calls, Wayne Denny, is out of his female, and which is also world champion, and then out of his world champion male dog, Willie. And she had been pretty hot lately and was pretty popular little dog there. And I knew with her I had my hands full, not counting the other two. One of them was Danny Perez, which is up here in northern Missouri. And he's got a blue dog, one of the better blue dogs in the country, named Poppin' Woodrow. And, he's 6 or 7, and the dog's won all over the world. And tough. He's a tough dog. And then I draw a dog out of Florida, an older gentleman had, and he was no slouch, to say the least. He was also a pretty nice little hound, and I'm thinking, man, here we go again. The other times I've been in the top 100, I'd never won a cast, and I thought, here we go, right back where we started. So we draw a guide there, and he takes us to the most beautiful set of woods. He said it was 2,000 acres of hardwoods, nothing, water down around it, corn, everything. I mean, it's beautiful.
Nice.
And
perfect spot.
We get perfect spot. And Jenna's, like I said, she didn't like to drop hunt and deal real well. We like big blocks of timber. We like to walk. When we tree a coon, we pull off and recut her. We like to hunt the same block. We don't like to go elsewhere and stuff. And so I'm thinking, all right, we're in our ball game. And we get cut loose there, and Scar strikes for 100, and I strike for a 25. I get 4 strikes. Scar trees a coon. I tree a coon. And the other dogs make a couple trees. And needless to say, it gets to about 40 minutes left in the cast, and I've got 150 points, and Scar has 225. Well, on the way to one of the other dogs, mine gets treed. But that sounds great. You're thinking, all right. But in the same time, Scar gets treed, and she's the complete opposite direction. The two dogs from each other are over a mile. One I'd say about 1.2. Scar is 6/10 straight north of us, and Jenna's 6/10 straight south. And I end up getting treed before JR, and go to me, and I've got a coon there. I get to recut with no leash lock rule in effect in UKC. I get to recut with about 6 minutes left, and I'm thinking, if JR's got a coon, I'm beat. It doesn't matter. I cut her loose. She strikes right there off the lead again, and runs this track right around there. And the buzzer goes off, and about a minute and a half later, she gets treed. And I don't get her treed in. I'm thinking, oh, there it was. I'm beat.
Yep.
And so I go get her. She's got another coon there, and I said, "Well, girl, you did everything you could do. It just didn't. It wasn't meant to be." Well, it takes the judge quite a while to make it back to Scar's tree, and I think JR was at his tree for about an hour and a half. And by the time I got done getting mine gathered and I got up there, they were just kind of in the middle of scoring it. And what do you know it? Scar missed a coon by a tree. She was about 30 or 40 yards from a coon that she had missed. She got some cut over, and they couldn't find her coon. Props to JR. You hear cheating and stuff and all these hunts, and he had perfect opportunity to do it. He could have very possibly moved it, and he didn't even think about it. He even told me, he said, "Tyler, I'm telling you right now, you're going to win this world hunt." He said, "I've got a feeling." He said, "Your dog looked good. She deserved to win." And I said, "JR, don't tell me that once again."
People making you nervous.
Yeah, exactly. Fast forward there to the what normally would be the hunt alone round, a lot of people know it as. They don't do that anymore. They just do away with it. Only one round Thursday night, and they say, "All right, everyone, come back on Friday." So we got to go home and rest a little bit. We came back there on Friday night, and there were 23 cast winners, I think. Yes, 23. There was one dead cast that didn't make it in, and therefore there would be six casts of 4 dogs, minus 1 dog, and therefore there was 1 3-dog cast. Well, we all go up. They have a handlers meeting, and we get to draw casts, and I go up and draw mine, and guess what? I draw the 3-dog cast.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, hey, yeah, that's only got to beat 2 other dogs now, and that's a good deal. Except I drew a very good friend of mine who lives 10 miles from me, right down the road here at Brandon Gaines, and he's got some good English dogs, and I draw him. And I'm thinking, oh man, it's us or him, and I drew a little blue female out of Texas, and I'm thinking, well, we ought to be okay though. I'm hoping that these colored up dogs, maybe they'll be a little low in strike, and I'll be able to strike for 100 and tree coon and kind of see where we're at. So this kid takes us, the guide does, he takes us there to some wildlife management area, and it's a big pretty spot of woods, one big section, and we get cut loose there, and I don't know, after the minute, Brandon's dog strikes for 100, and guess what? The little blue female strikes for 75. Old Tyler was wrong. I strike for 50. Strike for last. I'm thinking I'm beat now, and they hit this river. Whenever they did, Jenna went right down the river, and they went left, and which was no surprise to me,
Mm-hmm.
And she runs this little track down through there and finally gets struck. It was probably 5-6 minutes into the cast. She gets struck, runs a little track down through there and gets treed, but I can tell it's not right. I'm real familiar with every bark she has, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. Well, we have to go score a Rowdy and the blue female. They get treed in there, and we get headed to them. And finally, Jenna gets a little better. I get her treed in, and me and the guide, we go back to where she's at there. She's about 7/8 of a mile from us, and we went back to where she was and got her tied up and waited on the judge. And, well, they scored a couple dogs out of order and stuff, and by the time they got to us, there's only about 20 minutes left in the cast. I tell you, I was pretty upset because I didn't know what they had.
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to come score me, and I'm sitting in my tree, and they ended up calling timeout because they were scoring dogs out of order and was able to save some time. It actually was opposite. I kind of got upset for no reason, so they shined my tree, and we found my coon there pretty quick. Gives me 175 points, and the other dogs they scored I think 3 trees before me, and they just had circle trees. They couldn't find any coons, and it was dry down there, and in that spot we were at, there were pleasure hunters hunting and side by sides, and it was just a pretty difficult situation, to have to deal with. And well, the guy said, "You guys want to move? You want to stay here?" And I said, "Heck, I'm good with staying," And of course, the other guy was like, "Yeah, whatever." So we cut loose, and once again, old Rowdy, Brandon's dog, he strikes for 100. He opens and opens. There about 3 or 4 times. He comes straight just right here in front of us. The little blue female, she strikes for 75, and he ended up treating her for I think 75 in there with Rowdy. And I'm thinking, oh great, Jenna hadn't even barked again. And we get in there, and me and Brandon said, "What do you think, Tyler? Think he's got a coon?" I said, "Brandon, I've hunted with him a bunch. That sucker's got a raccoon,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, here he's going to have more points than me. I'm beat. My dog is just going to run off, and that's that. Well, we get in there and we can't find this coon. We shine around. The little blue female had moved about 50 or 75 yards and got treed again, and we couldn't find it. So circled Rowdy up. It's another break I got. We pulled Rowdy off and got him recut there, and the little blue female, like I said, was treed, and we could tell she was in the ground, and went over there to handle her being in the ground, and Rowdy happened to be there. He didn't have much time to get gone, and when we handled her, like I said, he was there as well, and we pulled her out. She was in a hole in the bottom of the tree, and we pulled her out. There was a pot. So in UKC and in the World Championship, you get scratched for any off game, and man, I hated to see it in a way, but again, it was a break for me, and they got scratched. But there was 25 minutes left in this cast now, and I had to hunt it by myself and hope mine didn't do the same thing.
Yep.
So the weirdest thing happened. I was telling you guys how wild and crazy she was, and she we were about 100 yards from a bridge across this river. She comes back down the river to that bridge, and she comes back up on top of that bridge, and she sits at that bridge for the last 25 minutes of that cast. She just sits there, doesn't move. To this day, I'm mind blown how she knew that what she was supposed to be doing. And had it been any other night, I'd have been so mad. But I tell you, I even told one of the guys in the cast, I said, "Hey, go put your tailgate down." And I said, after 15 minutes, when it gets less than that, I hope she jumps in it. And they kind of laughed. When cast got over, I hollered at her, and she come right to me, and I got her. We're a winner. That's all that matters.
Yep.
So, well, now we're back to 6. We're in the top 6. So there's those 6 cast winners come back and hunt against each other heads up. So it's 1-on-1.
Okay.
3 1-on-1 cast, 1-on-1 dog cast. And I have never, for the life of me and Jenna, won a heads up cast. Her and I cannot win one. We couldn't win a 1 dog cast, I don't think, but we dang sure can't win a 2 dog. So I'm nervous. I know that I'm beat. There's absolutely nothing I can do. I might as well chalk it up. I made the top 6. That's good enough. Let's go home. Mm-hmm. We're sitting around there, and me and a couple of buddies, which is Quiet Monin's one of them, and Jeremiah Roller's another one. We're sitting there, and we're talking about it. Man, we've been talking all week about, man, I hope we don't draw each other. It'd be cool to see each other in the finals. And, well, when one of those casts come back, we're assuming that when that happens, there's going to be 2 casts, because 1 dog, you can't have a 1 dog cast. So that means one of them's going to be a 3 dog cast, one will be a 2 dog cast. And that's, one of us going to have to knock the other out at some point at that time. And we're pretty bummed out about it.
Hang on one second. You missed one thing. So one of those casts came back as a dead cast, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes. So one of those casts came back dead. So therefore, you have to tree a coon in the World Championship to keep advancing. You can't come back with no coon scored. And like I said, it was rough. The hunting was rough, and I can't believe we didn't have more dead casts than that. But so they get back, and one of these casts is dead. So therefore, there's 5 dogs that's won.
So 5 instead of 6.
Correct. Yes, where you would have 2 or 3 2-dog casts, you're now then going to have a 2-dog cast and a 3-dog cast.
Yep.
And props to Alan and Trevor. They came over to us and they said, "Guys, I need to have you in a meeting." So it was me, Wyatt Monin, Jeremiah Roller, Bryce Matthews, and Kurt Aaron. We all 5 of us. They had us in a meeting. That was your 5 winners from early, and they said, "Guys, here's the deal. We have to have a hunt tomorrow night." They said, "What happens if you go out and the 2-dog cast or the 3-dog cast is dead tonight? If one of those is dead, your winner will be crowned tonight on Friday night. Yep. The public won't be happy. All the media stuff's tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We can't do that." So we said, "Okay, well, what's your plan of attack here?" And, props, like I said, props to Alan and Trevor. They said, "Hey, why don't we draw cards? We'll put on there, we'll put 1s on 3 cards and 2s on the other card, and 3 of you can draw. We'll draw. Everyone will draw, and what if you have a 1? You can go ahead and advance to the finals, and if you have a 2, you'll just hunt heads up tonight, and then the winner of that will make the 4th dog for the finals tomorrow."
Yeah.
And I said, okay. We all agreed. Yeah, that's a great idea. Because 3 people, you have 60% chance of making the finals.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big chance.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, let's do it. Well, we all stick our hands in the pot and draw them out there. And what do you know it? Me, Jeremiah Roller, and Wyatt Monin all draw one. The three buddies that we wanted to make it through and not draw each other till the finals, and that's what we did. So, me and Bryce and me and Kurt are friends as well. I mean, it was such a good time because we were all, the camaraderie was there.
Yep.
So they draw and Bryce and Kurt stick. They just drew the short straw, and it was a bummer for them because they didn't. They made just as much noise as we did, and didn't have any reason to go home yet. But that was just luck of the draw that thing. So there was another one of me and Jenna's big breaks, and so Bryce and Kurt go back and hunt, and well, not long after, Trevor comes over to me and Wyatt and Jeremiah and says, "Hey, Tyler, and hey guys, I want to let you know that our media team's going to be in at 5 a.m. to do interviews for the slate rounds. That generally that's when they would be here, but at this time it's only 12 midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning or so."
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "I'd really like you guys to stick around till 5 o'clock so you can do those interviews." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So we all go to our truck and sleep a while, and they get there at 5 a.m. So if you guys haven't seen it, the interviews that we've had so far, they're from UKC. That was at 5 a.m. That's why if I zoom a little bit out of it, that's why.
Yeah, no kidding.
So Bryce and Kurt go out, hunt it off, and Kurt Herring wins the deal with Whitey, and which that's one of the dogs that I really hated to draw. And at this point, they're all good ones, but man, I knew Kurt was backing a good one, and I thought, great, here we go. And so again, that cleans us up for Friday. We go into Saturday night.
Hang on one sec. So Autumn Oaks, I walked along on a cast with you and Shaq, and we hunted with Bryce and Jed, the dog that he was hunting.
Yep.
And I just kind of want to give.
I forgot that you were.
Yeah.
Right.
I just kind of want to give a little.
Me and Bryce.
What's that?
Yep. There's some history there for all of us. We did at Autumn Oaks. We drew Bryce and Jed, the same dog he was hunting there.
Yeah.
At the World Hunt, and it's a super cool deal for Bryce because he was winning everywhere with him. The dog was hot.
Yeah.
And he was really, really competing well. And Bryce is a good dude. We're still, we're buddies, and he's another young gun in my opinion that's going to do big things in the coon hunting world.
Yep.
As long as Nikki lets him keep going or makes him keep going, one or the other.
Yeah. No, but I just wanted to give him a little shout out because, like I said, I got to hunt with him and Jed
absolutely
at Autumn Oaks, and at the same point, he owns Midwest Laser Works, and I just actually recently got a sign from him that he made for me. So check him out as well.
Yep, and he's making me and Jenna a sign as well. I told him what I wanted on it, and I told him I didn't care what it cost. He was just make me a sign, and of course he's reasonable, but I'll definitely post it when I get it because it'll be neat.
Definitely.
So, anyways, going on there, we made the finals, and of course we went to bed at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock that morning, and we had to be back up there at 4 or 5 o'clock. Alan bought us some pizza there, and we had a little meeting. And so at this point, it's myself and Jenna, Jeremiah Roller, and the Sleepy Dog, Wyatt Monin, and Hawk, and Kurt Herring, and Whitey. And there's some history between me and Wyatt. Wyatt lives up in northwest Iowa, and it's miserable cold up there in the wintertime, as everybody knows. And he comes down in the wintertime a lot, and he spends quite a bit of time at my house. He actually stayed with me a month or two last winter, and so me and Wyatt's tight. I mean, we're pretty good friends,
Yeah.
And so it's super cool. I was super excited to see him in it. He's 20, 25, I think, and I'm 27, and Roller, he lives here at Springfield, Missouri, which is just about an hour and a half from me. And I think Kurt Herring, he lives up in Missouri, about 5 hours from me. We draw each other pretty often, just around the circuit stuff, and absolutely no hard feelings. So we sat around all day and just talked. And Alan and Trevor had made comment to us that, hey, you know what? I've never seen a world hunt where all four guys sat around and talked so much. They said most of the time there's one in every corner and not talking. And we're a little different. We're these Western boys over here don't mind each other too bad.
But at the same point, I think it just shows that the caliber of dog that comes out of that area. I think, and if you look at a lot of the big hunts, where they're hosted and where a lot of these dogs have done a lot of winning come from, that little area you guys are from is a hotbed, that's for sure.
Right, like I said earlier, my partner there at Tier 1, Lane Denny, he won it here. He lives an hour from me. He won the World Championship with Emmy. Cheyenne Cummings, my father-in-law, he won the national championship there at Automotive with Jack. Brandon Gaines, he lives right here. That's when I drew in the semifinals. So,
yep.
There's a lot of good dogs in this area. And then, you're talking about Roller. He just lives right down the road there, and Kurt Herring. And man, the list can go on and on. There's a lot of good dogs within an hour of my house.
Yep.
And even Wyatt, I like to throw Wyatt in on it. I tell him I converted him to the southern side, and that's why he's got a good dog. But that's okay. So, anyways, back to it. Here we are. We're in the finals, and it's us four. And man, I wasn't nervous. I told you I wasn't. We talked all day, and it was just another cat. Mm-hmm. And I thought, here we go. And I went on through the mentality. I don't care if I win, lose, or draw. I'm proud of where I've gotten, and I'm proud of my dog. Not very many people can say they got in the finals, and here we go. So we go, and they take us to this duck hunting spot that is beautiful. They say some celebrities duck hunting hole. I think someone had said something about Luke Bryan or something, big duck hunting spot. And I mean, it is pretty. And they left it just for us. Shout out to the Dyers Bird Club, leaving it until the finals. And got it planned out there. And I'm thinking, well, I'm fourth anyways, I'm even made the comment of, hey, at least I'm the world champion female, no matter what. Nobody can say that,
Yeah.
We're proud of where we got. So we get out there and we get the cameras on, and everybody's there. And we've got 15 trucks going to the woods. You got camera crews, UKC staff, guides, judges, all these people wanting to watch. Mm-hmm. And we all shake hands and get ready to turn loose. No, Kurt says, let's go coon hunting, boys. And here we go. So we cut them loose there in this patch of timber down this levee, and I get struck for 100. And Whitey there, he strikes for 75. And Sleepy, he strikes for a quarter. And Hawk strikes for 50. Well, Hawk and Sleepy get to running down this road and kind of getting away from each other, and they get plumb out of here, and we don't really know where they're at. Well, not too long, Jenna, she struck and treed there. I hear her get treed, and Whitey's just right there behind me, and I get treed for 100. She's about 300 yards from the truck. Get in there, and Wyatt finds my coon. He says, "Yep, I got him." So we pull off of there, and I've got 225 points, and Whitey's got 150. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, "Ooh, I got that one out of the way." Now the pressure is on,
Yeah.
So the guy tells us where to go there, and we got the time working. Hawk and Sleepy, we have to hear them within 8 minutes of pulling off that, or they get minus their strike points, and so. We pull off there, and sure enough, we can't hear them. So they get minus their strike points. So we get turned back loose again, me and Whitey, and I get struck for 100 again there right after a minute. Whitey strikes right behind me, and what do you know it? Our dogs just blow out of pocket. It's gone. I'm like, oh, no, here we go. The 8 minutes going to be working on us. Well, we get up on top of this levee, and you can hear a dog way through there, or so we think we can. And I'm like, Judge, you hear that dog? I hear that dog. And I'm thinking it's Hawk. And I don't know that even to this day. I'll be honest, I don't think it was now. But I said, you hear Hawk? You hear Hawk? And Judge says, yeah, I hear him. And White says, okay, strike and tree Hawk. And I didn't know it at this time, but Hawk was over 2 miles.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, there's probably no way we heard him. But, props to Wyatt. It put me in a position at that point to hear mine again. So we walk to this little field edge about 800 yards, and we get to this field edge. Mine's treed down the side of it about 9/10 of a mile, and I can hear her. So I get her treed in there, and Wyatt takes a minus because we decide that we can't hear him. And so here we go to me. I've got another coon. So that gives me 450 points. Whitey has 150. Hawk's taking some minus, and Sleepy has 25 minus. Mm-hmm. I get at this point I can take an option. I can either lead Sleepy Street in, so I can either lead back to Sleepy, or I can recut my dog. And a lot of guys are like, man, keep her on the lead, keep her on the lead. And I said, guys, I tell you what, I said, this dog got me here. I'm going to bank on her. I'm going to recut her because that whitey dog at Kurt Ahrens had me scared to death. I thought this little sucker gets in a pocket of these coons and he's going to beat my eyeballs out, and I'm going to be leading my dog around like a dummy.
I was honestly wondering why you didn't. And I think a lot of people
That's
were.
That's why I did it right there. Yep, they were, and even the guys on the cast, like, what are you doing? You know, I said, guys, I don't trust the whitey dog. I've seen him; he can trim like squirrels when he gets in them, and I'm going to take my chance. So, and I was in the best hunting, and I was getting ready to be somewhere that I wasn't going to be able to hear in that position. But I thought if I can get treed before we get out of here, we'll be okay. So I got recut, and I cut her towards these other two dogs, and what do you know it? She doubles back on me and goes right back where she come from. And she goes about 300 yards past where she was at, and I heard her strike there off the levee, and I got her struck, and she barked about 10 times and just got treed. It wasn't no time. She just treed in less than 10 minutes. Again, I thought, well, she did that one right, you know. And we were going to have to walk over a mile to the next dog, to the Sleepy dog. And I said, Judge, how about this? How about just go ahead and tree me back in, and I'll go back to my dog and wait on you guys. You know, that was a big gamble to take because if she's slick or even has a possum, I could potentially lose that cast. But again, I felt like that dog had got me there, so I was going to take my chance.
Yeah.
So me and the backup judge go, and we sit at her tree for I think it was 48 minutes or something left in the cast when I treed her. And so we sat there, and I handled her on a big tree there. And when I did that, I thought, well, at least it's not a split tree, so that ought to be okay. But boy, I hope there's not a little possum hanging up there somewhere.
Yep.
And so they get there, and the other dogs, the Sleepy dogs, had a circle tree, and you know, we shined my tree, and it ain't very long. The hunt's over, and they shined my tree, and I've got my third coon there. And boy, I remember I grabbed Jeremiah and gave him a big old hug, and yelled real loud and stuff. It was pretty exciting for me to do that, and gave her a big old pat on the head.
I imagine so.
You know, it still wasn't the realization that, you know, you just won the world hunt. It was just the realization of, you know, I won that cast.
Yeah.
So I was excited. That was good. We started to go back to score Sleepy at that point. That gave me 600 points, and nothing could beat me. Didn't matter what happened, what the trees were. So get back to score the other two dogs. Sleepy had a coon, gave him 125 points, and Whitey had a circle tree there. And Hawk was over 4 miles from the cast.
Wow.
At that time, he had got kind of no man's land, didn't have nowhere to go, and he just ran away. And like I said, I owe Wyatt a big one because potentially he won me part of that cast just by treeing his dog through there. And that was a big deal, and he did it not only for him but for me, and props to him. So that explains our cast. You know, we got back to the trucks there and took a bunch of pictures, and it was awesome. It was
the one thing I want to say is, like, it's still September, so there's still a lot of leaves. So even just being able to see coon is a pretty big feat. So
right,
you happen to own this company that makes these squallers, and they seem to work pretty good.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about them?
It's kind of a funny deal. So me and Lane Denny own a business together named Tier 1 Custom Calls. Ben actually has one of the squallers. I put him up there at Autumn Oaks, and so we, in this final cast, these guys are all, I mean, like I said, they're buddies, but I didn't just sell them these squallers when we were there. I didn't take any with me to the World Hunt. We were actually out still from Autumn Oaks, and so I didn't have any inventory built up. And well, Wyatt, Jeremiah, and Kurt Ahrens were all wearing these squallers. Every one of them in the cast was wearing Tier 1 Custom Calls.
That's awesome.
Really super cool deal. That's what I thought. And I didn't actually realize it until after the cast. I think you guys are all wearing my squallers. And on my last tree, I actually turned to the camera there. I didn't know if it was on or not, but I turned to the camera and I said, Tier 1 Custom Calls, baby, and walked off. It's kind of an advertisement moment for me. So, but yeah. So, you know, we found every coon that we felt like we should have in that cast. And Jenna's last one, she was in a great big tree. And so I found it there. I props to props to my swallers. I feel like that had a big thing to do with it all week.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and Jenna was, and this is another little quick thing. So from Friday night at zones all the way through the finals of the World Hunt, Jenna was she made 14 trees and she had 14 coons. I found every coon that she had treed. So
very cool.
That says something for him.
Yeah, definitely. No, like I said, and it's a time of year that getting circle trees is easy, just because you get a big leafy tree and coon don't want to look. So
right. Yep. And down there in those Mississippi River bottoms, there were some big ones. I treated a cypress tree there in the top 100 of the first round, and man, it was huge. And sure enough, found he just right off there, and that makes a big difference in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So then, I guess after that, just kind of wrap this up. We did our interviews and stuff. You guys will be seeing all that come out in a couple of weeks. I think Trevor's still finishing it up, and Ben's podcast, UKC's podcast, will come out tomorrow with me on it. Okay. I do believe, and then it should be October the 5th. I think I saw where they're going to release that, and there's a bunch of media stuff along with it that'll release at some point. I haven't heard, but yeah, so that explains our world hunt. It was a lot of fun. Once in a lifetime, I'd say.
How long did it take to really sink in that you won the world hunt?
I tell you, it didn't really sink in until about Monday or Tuesday. I got there on UKC's website and started looking at the list of historical winners and historical world hunts. I'm on there with Big D and Jane and X Junior and Emmy, Lane's Emmy female and stuff. That's crazy to me. It just seems nuts that mine is on the same list as one of them. And I'm not saying she don't deserve it, but man, to say that you own one is just crazy. And now it's really sunk in. UKC sent me a bunch of cool pictures, and I would love to relive it every day.
Yeah, I can't imagine, and I doubt I ever will. But
well, I didn't think that either. And like I said, I had so many breaks going through that. I mean, just stuff that that cast that I drew there in the finals, even there was no reason why I should have won that cast. My dog looked phenomenal. I mean, she looked flawless. I hope nobody ever sees her go again that saw that, because she looked perfect. You couldn't ask her to look no better. Mm-hmm. And but the good Lord was looking down on me, and I was supposed to win that hunt. And I firmly believe that there was, like I said, all the breaks I got from the beginning, about even from not being on the list to not being able to go to everything. Yeah. And I mentioned it there in my first podcast, my first interview with UKC about a Cinderella story. And I kind of feel like it was that. And I owe him a lot of the credit. It's crazy.
Definitely is. Now, what's the big plans with Jenna now? You gonna breed her? You going to more hunts? You gonna try and win something else back to back?
Well, a lot of people's asked me. She just turned 5 there 3 or 4 days after that, which was last week. So she's still got a lot of life left in her, and I'm going. I had a litter of puppies off of her and Wipeout Hunter last year at this time. They just turned a year old as well, and I'm gonna hunt them, and I'm just gonna keep hunting her. She's right here in her prime. I don't want to take and make her a brood female at this time yet. Yeah. I wanted to just hunt her. The PKC World Hunt. We got zones here, and so here at Miami, and I want to try to get her through that. I tried that last weekend, and whenever I actually got beat. And funny story, so everyone will get a kick out of this, and I'm not too proud to say it. So I hunted Friday night at the PKC World Zones here, and I turned my dog loose there. Like I said, she was 14 for 14 on coons for the World Hunt. Looked phenomenal. Everyone was like, "Oh, what if she treated a possum on that last tree and you were scratched?" The guy just dog didn't treat a possum in 4 years. I ain't too worried about it. Friday night, I cut her loose to PKC World Hunt, and this gyp tree's a slick tree and a possum bowl. I couldn't even believe it. I literally just laughed when she treated her possum. I just started dying laughing. That was Friday night as a qualifier there, and I hunted her Saturday night too, and she looked back to her normal self, treated 2 coons there, and I just got beat on a tiebreaker. And so yeah, we're gonna keep hunting her, and I'd say a couple of years I'm gonna breed her to something. I haven't decided what yet. Okay. But I'm just gonna kind of soak it up soak up time with her and see if we can win something else. We got PKC World Hunt, more qualifying nights next week out at Salem.
Awesome.
I'm going to go out there all week and see if I can get her through. And I've never been to the PKC World Hunt, so it'd be a first for me and her both. And we'll see if we can do some more damage before I decide to put her up.
There you go. That'd be pretty cool to turn around and win another World Hunt with her.
Absolutely. I think there's been one or two other dogs that's won both of them, and they didn't win them in the same year. So it'd be cool to do that. But, man, that's asking an awful lot.
That is. But, I mean, I think, like you said, she's still young. So even if it's not this year, you still got plenty of time.
Yep.
So.
What else you got for me?
I think it's pretty cool that they announced the Super Hunt right after Autumn Oaks, right before the World Hunt. Right before the World Hunt. So, Joy Dog Food, new thing they're coming out with this, February? March?
Yep. Nope, he told me February because I was worried Jenna would come in heat.
February. They're coming out with this new thing called the Super Hunt, where they're going to hunt the UKC World Hunt winner, the PKC World Hunt winner, and what else?
The Pro Sport World Hunt winner.
Okay. So they want to try and hunt the 3 World Hunt winners, if at all possible. If not, they have some other alternative. But basically, 3 of the top hounds in the country every year.
Yep. They want us to go to Texas in the dead of winter and hunt against each other.
Yeah. And I think it's a cool idea, and I think with the experience that Josh has with Joy and media and like he's done YouTube and podcasts, I think the coverage will be pretty good. And which heck, we didn't really give UKC too much of a shout out there, but UKC's coverage of their major events has gone leaps and bounds the last couple of years, and the whole YouTube live play-by-play, and the video
Absolutely.
wasn't amazing, but hey, you're in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. And man, shout out to the camera kid there. He lugged a 60 or 80 pound backpack full of a booster off around plus a 100-pound camera. And I mean, we walked. I think we walked 6 or 7 miles in that cast. When he got back to the truck, he was gutted. I don't blame him. I was gutted for him. But yeah, shout out to UKC and their media team. I mean, they killed it.
Definitely.
Other than the fact that I was Tyler Cummings most of the night, other than that, we were good to go.
Yeah, I did hear that a few times, but no. So you are confirmed though to go to the Super Hunt then, huh?
Yes. So I called Josh, or he actually called me there right after, and asked if I was game to go, and I said, heck yeah, I'll go. I just said on one condition: Jenna normally comes in heat. She just came out there the end of August or 1st of September, and I said, 6 months she could potentially be in heat then, and I said I just. If we need to change it or something, I'm giving you a heads up now. And he said, well, we'll probably work around that. So that'll be good.
That's awesome. And I'm excited to see her in that. So
yeah, I hope her play-by-play is just as good as the last one.
Definitely. I think that's about all I have.
Perfect.
If you have anything else, feel free.
The only thing I got is, man, I just want to thank everybody that had anything to do with it. And I don't mean, people at home. I had people here taking care of stuff, my animals and stuff. Mr. Blake Painter, he's actually sitting across from the table with me right now. He fed all my cows while I was gone. My wife took care of my dogs that were here, and I couldn't thank them more. Of course, my in-laws and stuff, they took care of that side of it, getting her to zones. And when I got home, kind of a good deal. I got home and they had was trying to throw a surprise party for me. I happened to find out about it through a bad text message somebody had sent me. But when I got home, there was 30 or 40 of my closest friends and family here in the driveway, and I couldn't be more proud of it, And shout out to them guys. And my phone, I literally answered messages for a week straight. My phone still blows up about it. And Facebook only lets you have 5,000 friends if anybody was curious. So I have friend requests that I haven't accepted, and I don't mean that on purpose. I just don't have any room for them.
Yep.
But, the end of the day, we put all of our trophies on the shelf, and our boots aren't going to get cobwebs in them. We're still back at it. But just, thank everybody that that had anything to do with supporting us or watched us or sent a message and stuff. And I'm sure we will see it right back out there because we're not going to hang it up.
Awesome. I look forward to keeping an eye out, and hopefully we'll see her again.
I hope you do too.
Something big. So.
Absolutely.
Well, like I said, thank you very much, Tyler. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Maybe I'll be a third time guest.
Yeah, definitely. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep them talking in the timber.